Everything is beautiful in its own way, like the starry summer night or snow-covered winter's day. Everybody is beautiful in their own way. Under God's heaven, the world's gonna find a way. Everything is beautiful in its own way, like the starry summer night or a snow-covered winter's day. And everybody's beautiful in their own way. Under God's heaven, let's sit in the silence today. Under God's heaven, let's sit in the silence today.
Let us sit in the silence together today. If it's comfortable, friends, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just become aware of your breath, the gentle inhalation, the relaxing exhalation, and the release of tension in your shoulders and your jaw, in your hands. Feeling the support of the chair beneath you, and just relax a little more deeply, knowing there is nothing that you must do, nothing that needs to be said in this moment. Turning our attention, our awareness to that very individuation, that individualized spark of life, of wisdom, of imagination. That place of the Christ within. We turn our attention inward into the stillness and the silence. And with our inner eyes, we know and we see that everything is beautiful. Everything is beautiful because everything is God. Everything is good. Everything is love. In this place of consciousness, in this place of creative potential, everything is beautiful. And so with intention and relaxation and inspiration, we turn within to the stillness, to the silence, to commune with this spirit. This place where we are one. And as the mind tries to pull us away, we simply exhale with the truth that everything is beautiful. And let those thoughts go on by. here and now, in the silence. Everything is beautiful. I see God in everything. I see God in everything, and everything is beautiful. With all things being beautiful and knowing that everything is God, I am at peace. Knowing the truth of this peace and this presence, I invite you to come back into this manifest time and space where we are gathered in community, knowing in consciousness that we are one, that we are here and now, and that everything is beautiful. I see God in everything. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Everything is beautiful in its own way, like the starry summer night or snow-covered winter's day. Everybody's beautiful in their own way, under God's heaven, the world's gonna find a way. Everything is beautiful in its own way, under God's heaven, the world's gonna find a way. And as we prepare to receive Rev Todd's message, let us do this song. This one is Sweet Hour of Prayer, and I encourage you to sing along with me. It is an oldie, but let us sing it. Let us sing it together. Sweet Hour of Prayer. Sweet hour of prayer, enfolded in the presence rare of one The stillness of the silent hour brings peace, goodwill, and conscious power. The time of silence is to me eternal joy and harmony. Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, in love with all men everywhere. The universe is but the whole of all that is in man's pure soul. Through Christ the truth I now behold, the brotherhood of man unfold. Man thinks this loving thought and feels the beauty Christ the truth reveals. Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, into the secret place repair. I feel that quickening life of thine, and know that thine is also mine. The light of truth is now revealed. I sing with joy, for I am healed. The glory of the Lord I've seen, at one with spirit I kept serene. Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, and pardon me, of one who fills with truth and light, the one who works with wondrous might. Let's do that again. Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, into the secret place repair. I feel the quickening life of thine, and know that thine is also mine. Well, we got through it. That's what's important.
We got through it.
We got through it. Yes, we did.
Ah, Deidrey, I love you. We got through that. That is an oldie. It's so old I've never even heard it. But hey, that's okay. Is it from Wings of Song? Anybody? Is that right? Anybody? You know?
It's at least an old Baptist song I
Oh,
used
okay.
to sing.
Okay.
Oh, it's now the Charles Wesley era.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha. Somebody commented on my boots. These boots were my birthday gift from my sister, and I sure do love them. It's the first time I've worn them. And I thought about putting extra shoes in the car so I could change. And I was like, why? Because I remember years ago when I was at the theater that I worked at in Alabama, that we got a grant for audience diversification, and we realized that a lot of people didn't want to come to the theater because they thought they had to dress up. Remember those days? And we didn't care what you wore. We just wanted you to buy a ticket and show up and enjoy the show. And I remember not too long ago in the history of the world, but it's been a year, 2 years ago, one of you said to me one time when I was all dressed up and wearing a tie and everything, they're like, I miss the days when you wore jeans because it made me feel comfortable coming in with whatever I had on. And I was like, huh. And so this morning when I was getting dressed, I was having a fat day and these jeans fit. So here we are. And I thought I'd just wear my water shoes too, because it's raining. I was so excited that I finally got to wear my new shoes. They're white. It's after Labor Day.
You are so Carteret County.
I am so Carteret County today. It's almost like I'm local. And just like that, the rain comes. That's the rain, if you can hear it. We are in the endish of a series on prayer. And we have been talking about prayer as an awareness of the oneness, an awareness that God is. We talked about prayer as transformation, that prayer is the awareness that God is everywhere, and that means that God is in us and that we transform because God is absolute, unchanging good, and that we therefore pray from a consciousness of our oneness, a consciousness of the perfection of us in spirit. We talked about prayer as listening for that instruction, that heart desire to go forth and do the good in the world that we're called to do. And last week we talked about prayer as action, sort of our fifth principle. Yes, because it's not enough to know the truth. We have to do something with it. Yes?
Yes.
Right.
Thanks for talking back. We must do something with that truth. And so I want to point out, I want to remind everyone that all along through this journey, that prayer has been personal and communal. Always personal and communal. Personal because we are each individualized expressions of the one mind. Communal because we are one in spirit. We are one whether we're sitting in this sanctuary in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, or we are online someplace else, that at the level of spirit, there's only one. And so communal, whatever we pray for someone else, we pray for ourselves. And whatever we affirm and pray for ourselves, we are praying for others. And the truth is that as we pray in community, we become a greater power for good in this manifest world. Playground, planet Earth. A few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about some seagulls, and I have another seagull story for you. This is, as Susie said, I look like I'm from Carteret County now. You would look at me with these shoes on, and you think, well, he could go out on a fishing boat. He could go out and, start pulling in nets of fish. And there's a story of a fisherman who's, he threw the net. He listened, and he threw that net in just the right place, as our way shower told some people one time, throw the net here. And it was so full, and he was alone, and he could not pull that net up out of the water. And the seagulls came and they flocked, and the seagulls started, taking some of the fish. And as the seagulls shared in the work, he was able to lift the net into the boat. So see, even in our oneness, it's not just that we are one as individual human expressions, but we are one, even the birds and the trees and the ocean. Everything is a physical manifestation of good that is coming to assist us in this journey, that we might reap the rewards. And we know, we've heard before, that fish represent divine ideas. Divine ideas being our prosperity in this incredible adventure that we're having. And when we pray in community, we build resilience, we strengthen our faith, and we create stronger connections to one another and a stronger connection with that absoluteness, that thing that we call God. The energy of our prayer expands when we are in community. There's a group consciousness that can hold a larger vision that we can't do just by ourselves. We have this faculty of imagination, and when we pull it together, it magnifies in ways and in vibrations that we can't always understand and identify. And yet it's true. And we have studies, we have empirical evidence that proves this. This is some writing from Lynn McTaggart. Some of you may have heard or read some of her writings. This is from The Power of Eight. The idea of placing people into small groups of about 8 started out as a crazy whim of mine during a workshop I ran in 2008, just to see what would happen if group members tried to heal one of their group through their collective thoughts. I'd build them Power of 8 groups, but I may as well have called them Power of 8 million. So potent did they turn out to be, and so much did they rattle everything I thought I knew about the nature of human beings. When we can join together in a shared intention, a shared vision, a shared belief, and a shared vision of each person's beauty, of each person's wholeness, of each person's perfect expression of health, things change. She wrote this as well. It was a year after I began the global experiments with groups of thousands that I decided to try to scale down the entire process in my workshops by creating Power of 8 groups and having them send healing intentions. For me, it was just another more informal experiment, and just as foolhardy a one, until it too began to work in ways that eclipsed everything I had imagined would happen. And people with long-standing conditions reported instant, near miraculous healings. I want to be clear that healing is about our spirituality. Healing is not about the physical expression. Healing comes forth when we know our wholeness, when we know that we are one with the one. And when we hold on to ideas of lack and limitation in any way, shape, or form, that can show up in our lives in all kinds of ways. Showing up this week in mine as, I have that one tire that just keeps losing air for no apparent reason. But I know that metaphysically, that's telling me something. That is for me to go in and experience and find and forgive and heal. And I used to, years ago, I sat in a circle of 8 every Sunday night until I left Greensboro. A circle of 8, and we held one another, and we held intentions, and we shared our struggles, and we looked at spiritual truth, and we held it up to the light, and we said, what does this mean for me? What is this teaching telling me that then I have to do something with? And that's why community is important, because we get to stand in the truth of who we truly are, look at what we're presenting to the world, and then having a group of people that invite us to step into integrity and live according to these principles that we say we believe, these principles that we recite with each other every week. Not to change the world out there, but to change us, that we might be more in alignment with the truth that we seek to be. And this truth of community, this truth of holding a shared intention of a world that works for all, is the oldest tradition of this faith system that we participate in. Silent unity. More than 150 years old now, I believe. The longest continuous prayer service in the United States. Started with letters to Myrtle Fillmore before any one of us took our first breath. Holding the intentions of knowing the truth of who we are. Knowing the truth of our prosperity, knowing the truth of this transcendent experience of God was imminent in us, as us. inviting us into the fullness of life, into a greater prosperity of peace, of joyful relationships, of work that is joyful to us, so joyful, in fact, that we don't even call it work, that we think of it as play. A prosperity of community, of people that come together and share ideas and share love and respect and see the God in each other, see the beauty that is there, because each one of us is that individualized expression of love. And curiously, this idea of community is not just a unity thing. How about that? Did y'all know that the Fillmores studied many of the world's great religious traditions? Charles Fillmore said in an address in I believe it was 1932, that, we've looked at all these traditions, and what we've done is we have said, hey, let's take the best of everything and pull it together. And so this practice of community, this practice of a holy Sangha, also shows up in the Sikh faith. In the Janam Sakhis, which is the traditional biographies of Guru Nanak, it sort of combines fact and legend and some spiritual teachings. Oh, that sounds like the Bible, doesn't it? The Hebrew and the Christian scriptures. This is holy scriptures from the Sikh tradition, and there's a story about Guru Nanak who became enlightened and shared this. And so I want you to imagine a gathering that is so charged that people won't sit near each other, or even certainly not in a circle, right? And then with singing and prayer and this indelible experience of love flowing between them, that's this idea of separation, this belief in othering begins to fall away. And that's what would happen when Guru Nanak would travel around the countryside. He would gather people into a Sangha, a holy fellowship, and wherever he went, he would have these gatherings of spiritual seekers, of mystics, of villagers, curious travelers, and he would lead them in song, like Deidrey does with us. He would lead them in discussions. He would lead them in communal prayer. And this was in India, and so there are all these different castes of people. And if you know anything about castes of people in India, you don't intermingle, you don't touch the unclean. And in these people of different castes, of different backgrounds, of different beliefs, there was separation. And then with fellowship, things changed. He sat among them, he sang the name of God, and he beseeched them to join the Sangha. Step out of that otherness. Step out of that belief in separation. That is a thought of separation, of lack, of limitation, that would have you be separate from all others. And as they worshiped together, the separation softened. And they began to see one another as brothers and sisters, united in a spiritual way that overcomes all appearances. Overcoming appearances. I hope you've heard that phrase here before. Community, prayer, and fellowship create a spiritual current that is stronger than any one of us as an individual can muster. It's a spiritual community coming together in fellowship in the place of spirit. And so So when we come together on Sunday mornings in this hybrid, in-person, virtual way, we are united in spirit and we are creating a communal experience of oneness and envisioning together a world that works for all. There's also something else that the Sikhs do that I really love because it's langar. Langar. Last week I told you about blunt pretzels, that wonderful discovery that I made over in Swannanoa, North Carolina. I really love Bavarian soft pretzels. Oh my gosh. It's probably why I needed to wear the fat pants today. But Langar is about community kitchen, that very thing that Blunt Pretzels has put together. And it's a living practice in Sikhism. Even today, this is an ongoing spiritual practice. When Guru Nanak started his spiritual work, he noticed that many of his community were hungry. Not just physically, but spiritually and socially. He began to serve whatever food he had to travelers, to the poor, anyone who came, and even people from other faiths and other castes. The simple act of offering food without discrimination became the seed of Langar. And over time, his successors in Sikhism institutionalized it. And Guru Amar Das insisted that anyone who wished to meet him must first partake in this community meal, to sit together and share a meal where no one is excluded because of their caste, because of their gender, or because of their status. And the kitchen is always run by volunteers, and the act of preparing, cooking, and serving together became itself a sacred practice, community prayer in action. It's not enough to know the truth, right, Leslie? We must put that truth into practice and live the truth we know. And so in every langar, people pray before serving and then serve and then eat together. And the spiritual message is vivid. Worship is not only spoken prayer, but shared service. It is embodied unity. It is mutual love. It's not enough to know the truth. We must put that truth into action in our lives. Service is the spiritual path that leads to the awakening of our oneness. I was so overwhelmed with love when I joined this community, which, can you believe in February that will be 6 years ago? Wow. When I first got here and I found out about the relationship of this community of believers with Martha's Mission, and how we make sure that food insufficiency is not the truth we know. We live from our abundance and we give to Martha's Mission. In fact, there are a number of people in our community that go and volunteer there and help make sure that people do not experience a lack of food in their lives. A tradition that continues here because we are seeking to be the action in the world of the Christ. Right? Not Christ the person, not that personality of Jesus, but that sacredness that is burning inside of us, to see the beauty in one another, to see that every person we see and experience is an expression of God. An expression of potential good when they know who they are. And I truly believe that when people do things that we would label bad, as wrong, as evil, It's because someone has never seen the individualized expression of Christ that they are. They have never been recognized for the truth of their being and lifted up in consciousness to know that there is always a choice to be the presence of love in all that we think, all that we say, and all that we do. Prayer and service are inseparable. In Guru Nanak's way, feeding others is a form of prayer made visible. In this community of Crystal Coast Unity, feeding others is prayer in action by giving to Martha's mission. It's prayer in action to step into service in this community and greet people when they come in the door. It's an act of service to see someone as the presence of who they are and welcome them with a hug. Do you know that some people, the only physical touch they might experience in a whole week is on Sunday morning? And psychologists will now tell us that we're supposed to have at least 10 hugs a day for optimum health. Look at science and spirituality interacting. Do you think we could, together as a community, as a community of more than 8, if we could hold the intention that everyone in our community, be they in person, be they online, whether they watch this a month later on Facebook, can we hold the intention that everyone gets every hug they need every day for optimal health? Because it's not just about the hug, it's about the intention of seeing them as worthy of love, of recognizing that they are the presence of the one. So I think if we all made sure everybody had enough hugs every day, there might be a lot more peace on earth. It might be a world that works for all. And maybe not, but it would be a place to start. And I can do my part. I don't mind hugging people. As we pray in community, we become a greater power for good. And as the Fillmores directed us, they looked around and they took the best from a bunch of different places, and then they framed it all in the Christian and Hebrew scriptures, in the stories of our way shower Jesus, and they said, this is the way. Here's how we can do this. And this, I mean, this shows up. Jesus gathered people in prayer and in his teachings, whether it was on the side of a mountain, whether it was in someone's home, whether it was in a synagogue. His presence transformed that gathering because he saw each person as an individualized expression of the one. And it didn't matter if they were the tax man or a fisherman, a zealot. He even let women in. Right? He also let in children and immigrants. And in prayer and in presence, differences dissolved. We were there to be the presence of love. Prayer, service, community is the spiritual equalizer. Because when we pray for someone else, we are affirming the same thing for ourselves. When we pray for ourselves, we are affirming that same thing for all individualized expressions of the one. Jesus ate with all kinds of people. Or maybe it's better to say that Jesus always ate with the divine child of God. no matter what spacesuit they happen to be wearing at the time. At that Passover meal that we call the Last Supper, Jesus took two of the most common things that you would find at any and every meal, bread and wine, and he made them sacred. Not because they were special, but because every day and everything can be made sacred with the right mindset. And so today, as you gather with people, either virtually or physically, and you share a meal, know that it is an act of communion with whatever is present before you. You are sharing your time, your attention, and your love with a beautiful expression of God, of good, of love. And if that is the only action you take, that is an act of service, and it is enough. It would be enough. And yet I challenge you to do something more. Do something more. Make sure that you take time to recognize that presence, that you spend time in the stillness and the silence, and that you allow yourself to be transformed. And listen to your heart's desire. That is God's will for your life, for your actions. And then go be in service, be in community, do the thing that is loving, that is compassionate, that is good. And by doing so, we help create a world that works for all. And then email me about it, tell me about it. I might use it in a talk. And then when you see me, give me a hug. Yes?
Yes.
You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Turn to someone and say that. You are the face of God. And so it is, friends. That's what I was asked to share today. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Rev Todd, for always inspiring us and reminding us of the truth. When we pray, our prayers are answered, and it's even more powerful when we pray for each other. I pray that love will find your lonely heart. I pray that joy will mend all that's been torn apart. I pray that truth prevails where lies surround. Just look to God, sing out your soul, and answers will in showers flow. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. Thanks be to God that lights our way. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. I pray that peace will soothe your troubled mind. I pray you will overcome all your fears, leave them behind. I pray victory will claim your precious life. Just look to God, sing out your soul, and answers will in showers flow. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. Thanks be to God that lights our way. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. Hope surrounds us, love enfolds us. Just one thought, one small prayer. God is right here, always near. Light surrounds us, blessings rain down. Just one thought, one small prayer. God is with us, always near. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. Thanks be to God that lights our way. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. Giving thanks one more. Thanks be to God that answers prayer. Thanks be to God that lights our way. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God that answers prayer.
Ah, Deidrey, thank you so very much.